She found our letters, tore them open like they were lies, burned them while I watched. But what she didn't know was, you'd already burned yourself into me. This is the story of how my first love was scorched by hate, and how we found our way back through the ashes. The smell of smoke still reminds me of her. It was a Friday. Quiet, too quiet for a girl who had just turned 17. I was folding laundry in the living room when my mother walked in with trembling hands and fury stitched into her face. She didn't speak at first. She didn't have to. She just held the bundle of crumpled pages, our secret letters, as if they'd betrayed her personally. Her voice cracked as she said, "You wrote these?" I froze. My heart began to race, not from guilt, but fear. "Yes," I whispered, "I did." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply walked outside and lit a match. I followed her out, barefoot on gravel, trying to stop her, begging through tears that already knew they were useless. She dropped the match onto the pile, and the flames took our words one by one. "The first time you said you loved me. The time I wrote that I dreamed of holding your hand in public. That stupid doodle you drew of us under a giant rainbow umbrella. Gone. All of it. Our paper trail to each other, gone." That night, I lay on my bed with a hollow chest and a throat full of things I couldn't say. My mother didn't look at me during dinner. She just passed the salt like we weren't both burning inside. Her voice came through the wall that night, on the phone with someone from church. "She's confused. It's just a phase. I'll fix it." But I wasn't confused. I loved Lila Jameson. And she loved me back. We met in sophomore year. I was quiet, the girl with notebooks full of poems I'd never show. She was the transfer student who smelled like vanilla and wore combat boots with her Catholic school skirt. We were opposites, and yet somehow we found rhythm. The first time she kissed me, it was behind the gym, just after drama club rehearsal. It was awkward, soft, full of panic and trembling. We laughed right after. I told her she had cherry lip balm on. She said, "Good. So you'll remember it." I remembered everything. We wrote letters because phones were dangerous. Her parents were stricter than mine. So we left notes in each other's lockers. Stuffed words under math textbooks. Traded dreams on lined paper like currency. We built a whole world out of those letters. Until mine betrayed us. My mother found them in a shoebox beneath my bed. I'd kept everyone like they were sacred. And maybe they were. After that, everything ended. Lila's parents pulled her from school within a week. No goodbyes. No explanation. Just vanished. I called her number and it rang into silence. I wrote one final letter, mailed it to her old address. It came back stamped "Return to sender." It was like she died. I spent years pretending I was over it. I went to college. Dated boys who said the right things and touched me like they were reading instructions. I told myself I was normal. But every time I saw a girl who moved like Lila, I stopped breathing. Every time I heard the word gay, I flinched like it was a bullet and not a part of me. And then, 12 years later, she walked into a bookstore cafe on the Lower East Side, and the world stopped again. She was taller now, a little more grounded, still wore boots. I nearly dropped the coffee I was pouring when our eyes met. "Ellie," she said, her voice soft but certain. I nodded, mouth dry, chest alive again in ways I thought I'd buried. She didn't ask how I'd been. She didn't say anything ridiculous like, "Wow, small world." She just looked at me and said, "Can we talk?" We walked. 3 blocks to nowhere, just soaking in the sound of each other's voice like we were making up for years lost. "I thought you'd forgotten me," I said. She smiled, almost bitter. "I never did. My parents moved us overnight. No phone, no mail. They burned your last letter, Ellie. My throat clenched. So did mine. We sat on a bench in Tompkins Square Park, watching a dog chase a plastic bottle. Did you ever? I couldn't even finish. She nodded. Always. But I had to go through hell first. I didn't ask. I could see it in her eyes. Whatever she'd survived, it had changed her, carved her into someone stronger and sadder. So, she said finally, are you happy? It was the kind of question only your first love could ask, the one who knew what your laugh used to sound like before the world taught you to quiet it. No, I said honestly. But I'm not afraid anymore. We didn't kiss that day. We didn't rush. We exchanged numbers this time. Real ones. Weeks passed. We met for coffee, then brunch. Then late night walks that bled into morning. We talked about our childhood like it belonged to other people. I told her I wrote poetry again. She told me she taught music in Harlem. You ever think about what we'd be if they hadn't pulled us apart? I asked one night. She looked at me with eyes full of thunder and said, I think we'd be exactly here. Just sooner. Coming out wasn't a one-time event. It was hundreds of moments. Quiet ones. Like holding her hand in line at a movie theater. Or saying my girlfriend in conversation and daring someone to flinch. My mother still doesn't talk about it. She still has a Bible on every table. But she saw Lila last Christmas, standing beside me in the kitchen. She didn't smile. But she didn't frown either. That's something. Lila and I rebuilt our love, not on paper this time, but in real time. We wrote each other letters again. Not because we had to hide, but because now we wanted to remember. She gave me one last week. It read, I kept a scrap of the first letter you ever wrote me. It's the part where you said, I hope this is forever. And now I know it can be. The fire took our words. But not our story. We're still writing that every day. In light. In freedom. In love. Even now. I smell smoke and I smile. Because I remember. We survived it. And we're still burning beautifully this time.